Stompin' at the Savoy by B.B. Moore Campbell and illustrated by Richard Yard. As Mindy stared at her dinner, a big fat tear plopped onto her collard greens. Her dance recital would begin in less than 4 hours, and she was scared. Her 3 great aunties, Auntie Willa May, Auntie Naomi, and Auntie Norma, were having a good time dancing, which is what they always did after dinner. Old-timey music blared from the CD player while the aunties practiced their steps. Dancing at home with them was okay. Dancing by herself was okay, but I don't want to dance for strangers, Mindy said in her whiny voice. I might fall. Mercy, said Aunt Willa May and Auntie Norma, who held their ears. Stop whining, said Auntie Naomi. It makes me climb the walls. All you have to do is move your happy feet a little bit. Whatever happens, you just keep dancing. Mindy shook her head. If you make me dance in the recital, I'll run away. She rushed to her room, slammed the door, and flung herself across her bed. Tap, tap. Mindy peeked out her window. 2 drumsticks were beating a drum, and no one was around. I'm pat-a-tat-a-boom, boom, a-doom, a-boom, boom, the drum said, and I'm taking you to the home of Happy Feet. A talking drum? Somebody's trying to mess with my mind, Mindy said. The drum started rolling with the sticks beating it. Pat-a-boom, pat-a-boom, pat-a-bum, ba-boom, boom. The next thing Mindy knew, she was snapping her feet and following it down the fire escape way beneath the sidewalk to a place she had never seen before. There was a tall door with a sign and electric lights. The Savoy Ballroom. At the foot of the door was a black cat. Welcome, said the cat. Wow, Mindy said, stepping inside. The room was as huge as a playground, and the soft light above glowed like a new moon. On a long stage, a band was playing loud, joyful music. A tisket, a tasket, sang a woman with a jazzy voice that made feet move. Dancers of all shapes and sizes were shaking and stomping, swinging and strutting. But why were they wearing such out-of-style clothes and hairstyles? Mindy stared for a moment. Someone's trying to mess with my mind, she said. Where are we, Pat-a-tat-tat? She asked. But as she looked on, the drum rolled onto the stage. Listening to the music, Mindy felt as though someone had poured the rhythm inside her. Her head began bobbing. She began snapping her fingers as smiling dancers whirled and twirled around her, sliding her feet back and forth as the music grew louder and faster. Mindy swayed and clapped, and then she stopped. Suppose people were watching her. Stunningly, there was a blare of trumpets, a ripple of loud piano chords, and a crash of cymbals. The crowd began to cheer when 2 men appeared on the stage. Welcome, all you hep cats and satin dolls. My name is Chick Webb, said the first, waving a drumstick in the air. I'm Benny Goodman, said the second man, clutching a clarinet. Let's quit jiving and get this battle started. He put the instrument to his lips and blew. Tweedledee-dee-da-dee-da-dee-dee. They were really going to fight, Mindy asked a woman sitting next to her. The lady laughed. Whoever has the best music wins. She looked closely at Mindy. There are no children allowed in the Savoy, and here comes the bouncer. A huge man with fingers as big as sausages stood in front of her. Mindy danced right into the crowd. The bouncer was right behind her. She tucked among the legs and feet of the dancers and soon was bumped into the middle of the floor. The room seemed to be spinning around and around with dancing feet everywhere. Mindy couldn't stop dancing herself. She was gliding, and it felt as if her body was a drumbeat. This really is the home of happy feet. People stopped to watch her. When she saw all the eyes on her, Mindy felt too shy to continue. "Slip me some skin, little lady," a voice said. Chick Webb stood in front of her with his hand extended. Minnie slapped his hand with hers. "Crazy, come on up. I want you to be in the dance competition. The winning prize is $10. Mindy whispered her name, and the next thing she knew, she was standing with about a dozen other people. They were practicing their steps as they waited their turn. Where was that bouncer now? "Billy and Willie Mae," the announcer shouted as Chick began drumming. The energetic young couple took to the floor. Mindy had never seen their dance before. Someone behind her called it the Peabody. It looked like walking set to rhythm. Norma and George, a man and woman who looked like teenagers, held each other closely and danced slowly. Suddenly they backed away from each other and started wiggling and shaking as though they had ice cubes slipping down their backs. They clapped their hands as they twisted, and they did the shimmy. Then George pulled Norma close again and ended the dance in slow motion. No name for their dance. "Frankie and Naomi." "The Lindy Hop," someone whispered. Frankie and Naomi slid on their knees about 10 feet to the stage, then jumped up, faced each other, and began kicking their legs back and forth from side to side as Benny Goodman played. Twiddly-dee-dee-da-dee-dee-da-dee-dee. Frankie put his arms around Naomi and spun her around so that her back was to him. Then he jumped over her head. But as he was coming down, he lost his balance and toppled over. Mindy groaned, but Frankie bounced up, grinning at the audience, and winked at Mindy. "Mindy!" Pada-boom, pada-boom, pada-ba-ba-ba-boom. Mindy took a deep, deep breath, stepped onto the floor. "Whatever happens, I'll just keep dancing." She arched her back and threw up her arms. "Ladies and gentlemen, my dance recital dance." People formed a big circle around her and clapped. Mindy was sure moving her happy feet. She was about to leap in the air when she saw the bouncer. "No children at the Savoy. Your time is up," he said, grabbing her wrist. "Why don't you let the kid finish her dance?" Frankie said to the bouncer. "No children," the bouncer said, his voice in a snarl. The other dancers began chanting, "Let her dance!" But the bouncer refused to let her go. How could she ever get back to her aunties? Minnie wished she had been sweet and pleasant to them before she left, instead of whining. Maybe. She looked at the bouncer. "Please," she said in her whiny voice. "Pretty, pretty, please." "Don't start whining," said the bouncer with a look of horror. "Please, please, please let me go," Mindy whined. Frankie and Naomi put their fingers in their ears, as did the people closest to her. "Hey, cut that out right now," the bouncer said, dropping her arm. "Please," she cried. Mindy's screechy baby voice was louder than Chuck Webb's drums, higher than Benny Goodman's clarinet, so high that the people near her stopped dancing and covered their ears. The bouncer backed up until he hit a wall. He turned and began to climb it. Up, up, up. Horns blared from the bandstand. Frankie and Naomi grabbed Mindy, and the three of them began Lindy hopping across the floor. Just then the bouncer jumped down from the wall and raced towards her. Frankie swung around, then grabbed Naomi and Mindy's hands. He leaped and then flung his partners high into the air. Mindy was so light that she sailed through a hole in the ceiling, past the black cat, who waved goodbye just as the announcer said, "And the winners of the battle of the bands of the dance contest are..." Mindy landed with a thud on top of her own bed. It doesn't matter who won. When she looked up, her aunties were standing over her. The house was filled with old-timey music. "Mindy, it's time for your recital," Auntie Willa Mae said, handing her the costume as she moved from her head to the beat. "I'm ready," Mindy said. "I'm not afraid." Good girl, said Auntie Norma, hunching her shoulders up and down. Here's an ending for you, little bit, said Aunt Naomi. Watch. Pata-boom, da boom, boom. The Annies slid across the floor and did 3 perfect splits. Mindy gave them a hard, long look. Could it be? Somebody's definitely trying to mess with my head. The end. And this, it says, Savoy Historical Note. The Savoy is a real place. Opened in Harlem, New York in 1926, the Savoy Ballroom was home to the greatest dancers and musicians of the swing era. One of the few integrated ballrooms in America at the time, the Savoy featured jazz legends such as Ella Fitzgerald, Cab Calloway, Glenn Miller, and Count Basie, drawing visitors from around the world until it closed in 1958. I hope you enjoyed the story, friends. Bye.